Welcome to Deborah's Money Journey. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you for stopping by. Today's video, I am going to be talking about sinking funds, at least my take on sinking funds, and I'm also going to be setting up my new sinking fund envelopes. I have been working on saving in sinking funds maybe for at least 4 years. And let me just tell you, it has made such a difference in my finances and having money for different things and not having to worry about it, not having to pull from my budget and end up being late on some bills because I didn't have the money. I used it for an emergency situation. But if you categorize certain things that you know are going to come up in your life, and when I say certain things, Christmas, I mean, most people celebrate Christmas. Birthdays, a lot of people celebrate birthdays. Car repairs. So there's a lot of different things that having money set aside for those purposes will give you some peace of mind. I mean, it will give you a lot of peace of mind, in my opinion. So I'm going to share with you, why I think sinking funds matter and, how they help you. Because really, when you think about it, they not only help you stay prepared for planned, but also unexpected expenses. And just knowing the funds are sitting somewhere, either in a high yield savings account or in cash, and you're able to access the money when you need it, makes all the difference. It also really reduces financial stress. I mean, there's nothing worse than knowing you have to pay for something unexpectedly and you don't have the money. That is not a good feeling, and it really will bring up your stress levels. So knowing that, if you set aside a certain dollar amount, you're giving that dollar amount a purpose and you're assigning it to a sinking fund, then you don't use it until you need it. Now, we all know true emergencies do arise, and there are times we have to pull money from everywhere trying to take care of it. So I'm not talking about that, because if you need the money for that purpose, the good thing is you have it. That is the important thing. So let me just share with you 2 ways to set up sinking funds, okay? Option number 1, you can set an annual budget for every category and then divide it by, maybe the number of paychecks. So let me give you an example. Just say this year you want to save $600 for your car maintenance, and you get paid every 2 weeks or maybe twice a month. And so you're going to be saving $25 per paycheck so that you can hit that number at the end of the year. If I were you, I would either do a cash withdrawal as soon as you get paid for all of your sinking funds, or do automatic transfers to your high yield savings account. Because this money, if you're going to keep it in the bank, please put it in a different bank account. Do not keep it in your checking account. You're already going to set yourself up for failure. Make sure it's in another account, and because you're not using this money frequently, I would put it in a high yield savings account so that I'm earning interest on the money. And then when I use it, I can just go to that account, I can transfer it or cash out the funds, but I will have earned a little extra money on the funds. So then you do that. And so you can decide if you have 4 to 5 sinking fund categories. You can decide if you want to set a dollar amount and you're going to save only that amount for the year. And then when you save it, the account's fully funded. You can move on to the next one, so on and so forth. That's fine. Or you can do it this way, which is the way I do it. You can set an amount to each envelope regularly, meaning how much money am I going to put in every envelope? Depending on how much I spend in that category, how often I spend, I will save more money, okay? For example, I'm going to put a little more money in birthdays than I would in my P.O. box, because I already know how much my P.O. box is for the year, and so I don't need to save large amounts of money to fund that one. Let's brainstorm some categories. So what are maybe 5 categories you think you need to save for? And I would just get a piece of paper and just write out how many sinking funds you want. Or you can pick what's important to you throughout the year that always come up and you want to make sure you have enough money to cover those items. So let's say birthday would be the first item on the list, because we always have to make sure the kiddos have a nice birthday or family members. So I'm going to say birthday is important. Okay, that's one. And then car maintenance, in my opinion, is very important. And I just made a video about car maintenance, my last video, and about saving for that, because that category can actually get very expensive. So you really want to keep saving throughout the year for car maintenance. Okay, that's a good category. What about, think about something. What about home repairs? Home repairs and maintenance. These are things that are not always fun, but when they come up, we want to just have the money set aside so that it doesn't create a lot of hardship and stress on you, okay? So that would be the third item. What about Christmas? Christmas is a big one. And then I'm going to do one more, let's say back to school, because saving for school can be very expensive, especially if you have, several children. Okay, so I have 5 categories here, and when you do your budget, for the purpose of just trying to do this illustration, let's say you have $75 in your budget for each paycheck, right? To put towards sinking funds. You have $75. So between these 5 categories, I need to figure out how I'm going to take the $75 and divide it into these 5 categories. So for birthdays, I think I'm going to do $20 because I want to have nice birthdays for my children, for my family. Car maintenance is also going to, actually car maintenance is going to get $25. Car maintenance is, yeah, that's a doozy. So give that one some consideration. That one needs a little more. So we're already at $45. So I don't have much left. I have 30 left. Okay, so home repairs, I'm gonna do $20, $10, guys, 10. Okay, for Christmas, we're going to do 10. And for back to school, we'll do 10. Okay, so let's see here, 30, 50, 60, 75. So see how fast that $75 went? So that means every time I get a paycheck, I'm gonna put $10 into my back to school envelope. Every time I get a paycheck, I'm gonna put $25 into car maintenance. You determine the amount. This is only an example. You determine what's more important. Maybe birthdays are not as important as Christmas to you. So then you decide the amount, and if this $75, if you get extra money, you can always go into these envelopes and add some extra money to them. You don't have to be a stickler on the amount. You may get a raise, you may get some, a bonus. And so I would make sure that, I have a certain amount. There's nothing wrong with setting a goal for the category. So for Christmas, I have a $1,000 goal. That's my goal for Christmas. I don't have any children in school anymore, so that would not be one of my priority items. Home repairs, I would just say I'm gonna be saving forever. So there's not really a goal. Car maintenance, same thing, not really a goal, or birthday. So I'm trying to simplify it for you to make it where you understand that if you kind of set a schedule of how much money after you get paid that you're going to put towards these categories, then this is going to set you up for success. Now remember, some people like to have a lot of categories. You may go up to 10 categories. That is up to you if you can manage that. However, some want to keep it simple, so you might only want 2. Pick 2 sinking funds you feel are the most critical to your budget and your life right now. It's your choice. That's the beautiful thing about financial journeys. We're all on our own individual journeys. We get tips, we get ideas from other people, but at the end of the day, it's going to be your choice to determine how to spend and manage your money. So this is my sinking fund binder, And I've actually don't always stuff this on camera. I don't know, a lot of people don't seem to care about sinking fund videos, and that's okay. I don't have to make a sinking fund video, but I do stuff this binder every single time I get paid. Every time I get a paycheck, I already know the amount I'm going to allocate to my categories. I put the money in there, and I do not carry this binder around when I'm spending money. I'll do one of two things. Either I will come get the cash out and use it for that purpose, or I will spend it on a credit card. I'll come get the cash and then I'll pay my credit card back. Either way, I'm making sure that I'm using the money and I'm saving money. Don't, start saving and you don't want to touch it and then you're still in a bad situation. No, that's what this money's for. It's to be used. So this was my my binder, and these are all of my envelopes. They're old, some of them are breaking, and I'm just going to kind of do a refresh for this binder, and I'm going to change up my envelopes, and then I'm going to restuff the new envelopes. These are zipperless envelopes, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get these in here. For me, I actually have about 12 sinking funds, but some of them are not in this binder. Some of them are actually in my high yield savings account. And get one of those high yield savings accounts that you can create buckets. Then you can name each savings account based on the name of the sinking fund. Okay, so these are the old envelopes. These are the newer ones. Let's talk about what they're gonna look like. So I created some labels, and these are just cardstock. I asked my best buddy it's called Copilot, to help me make these labels, and voila, I have labels. Okay, so what are the categories of my sinking funds? I have P.O. Box, I have Sam's Club, donation, miscellaneous, I have pets, giveaway, birthday, and home maintenance. Those are all of my categories, and we're going to be adding the money to the different envelopes. Okay, so let's do birthday first. Okay, now I have birthday, and I'm gonna look for my birthday envelope. Here it is. Okay, so I'm gonna take the money out. Now I've already cash stuffed these envelopes for this pay period, so the money's in here. So let me share how much money I have in my birthday category. I have 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 205, 10, 15, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, so $225 in birthday. I do have a lot of birthdays I celebrate. This is for my children mainly, and then I will celebrate other people's birthdays from my, I'll just save it out of my, either my miscellaneous envelope or from my paycheck. I will use some of my buffer money for that. Okay, so birthday is stuff. Then my next one is pet. So I'm gonna put pet in here. So cute. I don't have a cat. I just have a dog. Okay, so let's look for pet. Here we go. Okay. Oh, I'm glad I'm changing these out. Those envelopes are so old. All right, so I have 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, and 20, 40, 60, 80, 225, 30, and 35. Okay, so $235. I use this for grooming mainly. Not really vet visits, but if I had to, I can use it for that purpose. Okay, my next category is P.O. Box. P.O. Box, and I was using this for P.O. Box. It said rent. I do pay a quarterly fee for my P.O. Box. I think it's $90, $30 a month. So that's a little steep. I probably will be changing my P.O. Box again because I moved and it's just too far. So I need to find one closer to me. All right, so that is 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 75, 85. Okay, $185 in my P.O. box. Okay, the next one is donation. I'll stick this right here. On average, I put about $10 every single paycheck in this envelope, and this is for everything, anything and everything to do with donating. So let's look for that. Now this is the only envelope. I'm not going to count the money because this is all going towards donations, charity, whatnot. And so I'm not going to count it and have any idea in my head that I'm using it for any other purpose but for what it's intended for. Okay. All right, the next one is giveaway. I do have a sinking fund for giveaways. Because I do giveaways quite a bit, I save money every paycheck, usually about $10 to $15 to cover some of my giveaway gifts. If I end up spending more money, then of course I will use, again, buffer or other funds in my budget, but I do have a dedicated sinking fund for the giveaway. Okay, that's 20, 40, 55, 65, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, and 80. So $80 in my giveaway envelope. Okay, let's go to miscellaneous. This one is going to have the most money in it because I normally put about $50 every time I get paid into my miscellaneous envelope, because this covers everything that I did not have a sinking fund for, and it really comes in handy. I use my miscellaneous money a lot because I can pull from this if there's a category that I didn't think about, or I don't want to use all my money in a category. I'll use a few of these dollars. Okay, I have a total of 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 320, 40, 60, 80, 420, 40, 60, 80, 5, 90, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. Oh, $500. Wow, that is excellent. Great to start off the year with a nice chunk of change for my miscellaneous sinking fund. Perfect. Okay, Sam's Club is next, and this is only for my membership. I usually put about $5 a paycheck in here, and this is the only one. When I save about $60, I will not add any more money to this, because once it's fully funded, there's no reason to keep adding money to it. It's just for my membership. I have 25, 35, 40. So again, once I get $60, I will grab my fully funded slip and I won't add any more money. And then my last sinking fund is home maintenance. I have a cash, not a large one, but I have a small amount of cash just in case something minor comes up. And minor things do come up, and I want to have it available. I have 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, and 5, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Once again, it's just for something small. I usually put about $5 in here because the bulk of my home maintenance sinking fund money goes to my high yield savings account. And so this is my sinking fund binder. Again, this binder has meant so much to me, so much over the past 4 years, that I honestly don't even know what I would do if I couldn't save for sinking funds. That is how important this is. So having the system, it works wonderful for me. You know, I'm just going to encourage everybody, you know, do what works for you. That's the main thing. You know, there's no one size fit all way to do this. Everybody has to do what works for them. And then remember the most important thing, if you want to have a system that works, you have to be consistent. That is what matters more than trying to be perfect, having pretty envelopes and saving your money in these little fancy binders. No, being consistent and saving the dollars that you set out to save so that you can have money set aside when you need it. That is the most important thing. So tell me, guys, what is your favorite sinking fund? I would love to hear from you. Which one is your favorite? Drop it in the comments. I want to thank you all for joining me. I hope that you all have a wonderful day. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye.